much, Mr Speaker, and I thank the Secretary of State for advance notice of his statement, and I apologise for my hoarse voice. I think I shouted a little bit too much in excitement at London Pride on Saturday. Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch and other human rights campaign groups believe the UK and US weapons have been used against Yemeni civilians. As things stand, 10,000 civilians have been killed, 50,000 wounded and 3 million displaced. Today's judgment raises a number of questions, and we pay tribute to the Campaign Against Arms Trade, who've taken the government to court and forced them to explain themselves. We acknowledge the plan to appeal and we wish them well, but the UK government should be coming to this House with all of the facts at all times, not having to be dragged through the courts for the public to get a full explanation. So does he accept that it cannot be beneficial if the public loses confidence in the government over its relationship with the supposed ally, one which is in flagrant breach of its international humanitarian law in Yemen? And let's not forget that Saudi Arabia, the UK's largest weapons client, has bought more than £3 billion worth of British arms in the last 2 years. UK and EU arms sales rule that state export licences cannot be granted if there is a clear risk that the equipment could be used in break of international humanitarian law. He says that he takes it very seriously, and he will know that our former colleagues Angus Robertson and Tasmina Ahmed Sheikh were strong advocates for the re-establishment of the Committee on Arms Export Controls, which the UK government promised. It promised before the election would be reconvened. So can I ask the Secretary of State, when will that committee take place? When will its first meeting happen? And can he give us categorical assurances that the election does not mean that such an important committee will be kicked into the long grass?
Speakers, can I first thank the Honourable Lady for her comments. It is, as the judgment itself set out, the case focused on the airstrikes conducted by a coalition led by Saudi Arabia in support of the legitimate government of Yemen against the Houthi rebellion. So I think we need to put on record that that is the origin of the conflict. Of course, the humanitarian issues in Yemen are deeply troubling to all of us. We've all seen the pictures, and the United Kingdom, through our various agencies and government departments, have been fulfilling as much of our diplomatic and humanitarian actions as we can in the circumstances. That is the way it will only be brought to an end, by a political settlement, not by a military settlement. But she talks about the clear risk test. The judgment could not have been clearer that the government met the clear risk test of Criterion 2C in the way that the government has carried this out. But on her point about the committee on arms exports, I have absolutely no objection to such a committee being set up. In fact, I think it is beneficial to us to ensure at all times the highest reputation of our probity in these matters, and I would have absolutely no objection whatsoever to such a committee being in place.